Morning. It is morning news today. Good morning if you've just joined us. Now, former North West ANC chairperson and Premier Supra Mahumapelo is back in court this morning. He and four others are challenging the national ANC's decision to disband his provincial executive committee. Judgment in the case is expected to be handed down today, and Aldrin Sampear has been following this case for us and watching what happens in court for us this morning. Aldrin, a very good morning to you. And I think just a very quick idea, a bit of background for those who might have forgotten how we got to court. What is the battle about, and how did we end up in court?
Yeah, I think the big question this morning is, would it be third time lucky for Supra Mahumapelo? Remember that after the NEC took the decision to disband the PEC of the North West, that matter was then challenged by the four other PEC members. But Supra Mahumapelo in that case was cited as a respondent. He then flipped and then became an applicant in the matter as well. That matter was dismissed on the lack of urgency. They then made another application, and that case as well was dismissed on a lack of urgency. And now, last week, it was placed on the normal court roll, and today we will be hearing judgment whether indeed there is merit to the case that they have been making, that the NEC decision to disband the PEC was unlawful, and that the PTT that has been set up, that PTT must be disbanded, and the PEC must be reinstated. It is a very important case for Supra Mahumapelo, I guess, and for the other four members, because as it stands at the moment, there was supposed to have been a provincial conference that takes place this month, but that provincial conference has been postponed by the NEC and will only be taking place after the elections, which means that the PTT that has been appointed by the NEC still remains in place. And one of the arguments that the council for Supra Mahumapelo as well as the four others have been making is that this matter does not only concern the ANC now, but it also concerns or would have an impact on South Africans, especially those people who live in the Northwest, because the PTT will decide or will give a submission of three names. That is, if the ANC does win the province again during after the general elections in May, will give three names to the NEC, and the NEC will then decide on who the premier should be of that province.
So in essence, are we together that Supra wants his job back?
Well, certainly he wants his job back, at least as the chairperson of the PEC, because remember that he resigned as the premier of the province after those violent protests that we saw in the early months of 2018. And another argument actually that has been made by his council as well is that the reasons that the ANC or the NEC has cited as to why Supra Mahumapelo was recalled as the PEC, or rather why the PEC was disbanded, was because of those violent protests. And the argument from the council is that it can't be because of those protests, because those protests were around service delivery, and the call that have been made by those residents were saying that Supra Mahumapelo must step down as premier. And indeed, he did step down as premier, or he retired as premier of that province. And it can't be that it is for that reason that the ANC then decides to disband the PEC.
I suppose the other question, Aldrin, will be what happens if he loses? I mean, you're fighting your own party's decision for this to happen. What will Supra Mahumapelo do after that if he doesn't win this time around again?
Here's the thing about Supra Mahumapelo. There's no doubt whatsoever that he has been down this road before, although he didn't go to court to go and challenge the reinstatement of his position. He does have some influence within the province, and there's no doubt that the ANC still needs him in the province, especially during the campaigning that will be taking place heading up to the general elections. However, though, some are arguing that he's burning his own bridges because he's now decided to take the party to court. And what will happen when this court then finally decides to dismiss his application? There's also this rumor that if you look at the national list, that he may be sent to Parliament as a MP if the ANC does garner enough votes to get representation in the National Assembly, that he will be a member of Parliament. But with this current contestation and this litigation, will the NEC still believe that this is someone with putting on the list of the NEC, or of the ANC when that list is submitted to the IEC. On the other hand, you also have a scenario where if the court decides and say that actually there is merit to this case that has been made, what will happen to all the decisions that have been taken by the PTT so far since they have been set up back in August?
Okay, so we'll wait and watch and see what happens with this. Will it be third time lucky for Supra Mahumapelo? Aldrin Sampear, thank you very much. He's outside court watching this for us.